when you go on Via Ferrata, if you rent or buy for yourself, as part of a basic equipment, you'll get this, something like this. This is a Via Ferrata set. What makes it a Via Ferrata set is this lanyard here. This gets connected to the sitting harness. Then you have this shock absorber. This here is a shock absorber. And then to this loop, you have connected this, as you can see, two elasticated arms with carabiners connected at their extremities. This is a Via Ferrata set. If you rent equipment or buy for yourself the system for climbing Via Ferrata, this is what you'll get as part of it. Besides this, you'll have the sitting harness and then the helmet. This is the minimum. Without them, you should not climb a Via Ferrata. Sitting harness, Via Ferrata set, and then the helmet. This might be confusing because it is called Via Ferrata set. You might think I only need this and I'm done. Well, no, because this has to be connected to you, to your body somehow, right? And you do that through a harness. Usually we use sitting harnesses. There are different types of harnesses, other harnesses to be used on Via Ferrata, but usually you will see rock climbing, wall climbing, gym climbing, sitting harness that is used by the majority of Via Ferrata climbers. So you have a sitting harness, you have a Via Ferrata set, and then the helmet. The helmet is for rocks. Many on the same route climbing, rocks might fall. Also, Via Ferrata compared to rock climbing has many rungs, pegs, metal elements. If you fall, you might hit them with your head. It's not as in rock climbing where usually the wall is clean and the most you can do is to smash your head onto the rock. You'll get this when you rent Via Ferrata equipment or when you buy it for yourself. You'll get a Via Ferrata set. Now, next to it, in general, it becomes a practice now. More and more you see it everywhere, is a lanyard like this. You'll see this because it is cheap. Alternatives to this is, for example, this. This is way more expensive, I can tell you that. Then, as expensive is this one. This is a chain. It is used in different disciplines of climbing, but can be used on Via Ferrata as well. Or my favorite one is this one. This kind of looks like a Via Ferrata set. Is not a Via Ferrata set. This is for resting, and what we call them is a resting system. Now, when it comes to resting systems, in the majority of the cases, you'll see this, which is a loop, a lanyard, a sling. You'll get this, and when you get this, either for yourself or as part of a rented equipment, usually you'll see clipped to it, a carabiner like this. This is wrong. This is a screw lock carabiner. Now, that it is a screw lock, it is a problem, but let's ignore that. The issue with this is the opening. Of course, someone can come and say, well, I'm just taking one with a larger opening like this one, which makes it same size as this one. This is the correct carabiner to have. This is the wrong carabiner to have. What makes this two, one correct and one wrong, is the locking mechanism. This has a screw lock mechanism. Even worse, you might have a three-lock carabiner like this. This is bad because you have to clip here, press on the ball, and then rotate, and then pull and open. This is a three-lock closing carabiner. It is very difficult to use on Via Ferrata. It might have a similar opening. It might have a similar opening to when you stay and look. The openings are similar, but the closing of this makes it very difficult to manipulate on Via Ferrata. You don't want this. These are done in different disciplines of climbing, and the reason of the three-lock is to make sure this stays closed. So you want this type of carabiner to stay closed. Same with this screw lock carabiner. When you lock it, you want it to stay closed. This is the purpose of this type of carabiner, to stay closed. On Via Ferrata, when you rest, you wanna clip it fast, and then you want it to stay locked, which is extra effort. Then you have to unlock it and then disconnect from your resting position. It is extra effort, extra steps. This is too small, so this is a no-no, but I see many using this type of carabiner. It is a no-no. In many cases, they cannot use it, so they might need it, they might want it, but they cannot use it. I was watching now a video, and the lady, the climber, she was saying, oh, I would love to use it, but it doesn't fit. Of course, it is too small. The opening of this is way too small. The carabiner is way too small. And she had something like this. Again, you might get something larger with a correct opening, but again, what makes it the wrong carabiner is the locking mechanism. This is a Via Ferrata Set rated carabiner. What makes it Via Ferrata rated is the opening mechanism. It opens and then it locks as the basic of any other carabiner for Via Ferrata. For example, on many Via Ferrata sets you'll see this, which is the same. You pull down and then unlock. It is exactly as this one. And then you might have this one. This looks similar to this one. They are different companies, but they look similar, almost identical, and it works the same way of locking and unlocking. And there are some others. For example, I have here this one. This opens the same way. This is from Black Diamond. This is from Singing Rock. This is from Petzl, and this is from Climbing Technology. Different manufacturers. They look different, but the mechanism is the same always. This makes them Via Ferrata rated carabiners. As you can see, this is my favorite resting system on Via Ferrata. It is a Y shape, looks like a Via Ferrata set. It's not the Via Ferrata set. This is a resting system, and I have a Singing Rock here and a Petzl. And the reason I have one and the other, even if I could have gone with two Petzl, for example, or two Singing Rock, is for a reason. You have videos on the channel. I might create a new video about it and explain it back again why I don't use identical carabiners when it comes to my resting system. Another resting system, many favor this. I don't like it. I don't think it is smart and efficient for Via Ferrata, but many do love this Petzl Connect Adjust. The way this works is like this. You adjust it. Doesn't work. You adjust it like this. I'm trying to open it. So this is variable in length. Many favor this. Again, because of this adjustment ability, I don't favor it. I think is not right for Via Ferrata, but this is a debate. I will make it in a different video. And you see, I have a Via Ferrata set carabiner, Via Ferrata rated carabiner. Now, this I use when I do rappel, for example, or rock climbing, and I install stations. You see, I'm using a Via Ferrata rated carabiner because it is easier to manipulate. But that one is, again, a debate that needs to be made when it comes to other disciplines of climbing. This, similar to Connect Petzl Adjust, same mechanism, but is called differently for reasons. And then this is a chain. This is bulletproof. I use it for rappelling. As you can see, again, a Via Ferrata rated carabiner on it as well. So the lesson here is, when you get something like this, ideally you'll get a Via Ferrata rated carabiner. If you rent, not much you can do there. People try to keep costs low, maximize profits. There is nothing you can do, but be aware, when you rent equipment and you get something like this for resting, it might get you into trouble. Get ready to be only partially covered when you actually need a resting system. It might work, it might fail, so expect that. When this happens, when you build it for yourself, you use a sling, a lanyard like this, a loop like this. When you do that, don't do this. Buy something like this. These are the cheapest, actually. These are the cheapest, and then come these ones. When you use something like this, make sure here you make a knot. You want to have a knot because in this way the carabiner will not travel on the loop itself, and then it will be more difficult for the carabiner to travel like this. It's two types of traveling. This is one type of traveling. You don't want the carabiner to be like this when you need it. You want it to be like this. So you have to put it as close possible for the carabiner to stay fixed. The other type of traveling which you don't want when you use a sling like this is this type of traveling, because what will happen is you'll have your knot here at the knot here at the belay loop, and then you'll have this, and what will happen is you'll end up with this around your sitting harness. You don't want it because your knee, you cannot see my knee, your knee might get locked into this. So you want a knot here for the carabiner to not travel like this. You don't want the carabiner to travel like this. And then you want the carabiner, let me fast improvise a knot here. You want the carabiner to stay fixed in place here, to not travel like this, because if it travels like this, it might get you into trouble when you need it. You want fast access. So yes, be very wise about it. Again, for resting on Via Ferrata, this doesn't work for two reasons: too small, and it is a screw lock. Even if you might buy a wider, large enough, big enough carabiner, still screw lock is not the right one. Best go and buy something like this, because these are the correct carabiners to use on Via Ferrata. What I wanted to speak today was about slings as slings for resting on Via Ferrata. Make sure you properly manage the sling with knots, and then that you use the right carabiner. If you don't do it, then, well, it might be there for nothing. It might get you into trouble, and from there you might end badly, and you don't want that on Via Ferrata.